and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County, McCurry County, Douglas County, Oregon, and beyond. I want to thank you all for joining me, and I've got a really special guest that I'm going to bring on here in a second, and I'm really excited about this guest because I know he doesn't hold any punches. I've interviewed him at least a half a dozen times. And so when we get to him, I think that's going to be something that we're going to have a little fun here. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and I think you're going to find it very, very entertaining. Matt Holman, Matt Holman. Yeah, Matt Holman was just, boy, I'm having brain functions problems here. And so Matt Holman was just on the air and he had to leave. I don't know what happened, but I wanted to announce that today's round of 3H tree service has started. The round has started. I think I'm getting Matt back here. Let me add him to the stage. No, he's buffering again. Yeah, that happens. But let me go over the rules real quick. You have to play to win. You have to participate in this game if you want to win. And this is Where's 3H Tree Service. And this week's grand prize, get this, this week's grand prize is $100. So this is going to be well worth it for you to get out of your house to find Where's 3H Tree Service. And I'll give you a little bit of hint. He's in one of the two largest cities in Coos County. That's my first hint. One of the two largest cities in Coos County. And I know a lot of you people drive around, you see his truck, so hopefully he's out there. Matt, can you hear me? Hold on, I got him on the phone. This is even better. Cool. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good, Rob. How are you?
Not too...
that technology crap.
Yeah, damn that technology crap. I figured you were up a tree or something.
No, I'm sitting here in my pickup. It says I got internet, but it won't connect, so finicky.
Yeah, it was, you came in for a few seconds and then you popped off and then you came back in again and it was still rebuffering, or buffering.
Yeah.
So I just gave out the hint. I told people you were in one of the two largest cities right now and that this week's prize is $100.
Coffee.
Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. I imagine there's going to be quite a few people out there. And I want to read the rules real quick because we have started the round. And people who are ineligible to win the prize include family employees of 3H Tree Service, anyone involved in hiring or contracting with 3H Tree Service, anyone who is a known criminal in Coos County or Oregon, or anyone who has won a round of Where's 3H Tree Service in the last 30 days. And the game has started and it does not end until you either find Matt Holman or it's announced on the show. What are you doing today? Anything special?
I am running around looking at work. We've got quite a few calls for estimates, so I've been running around doing that. But my dad and my brother are out trimming trees right now. So they're taking the load off of me so that I can go lay in some work out in front of them.
It's truly a family business, isn't it?
Oh yeah. My dad, my brother, and my cousin, and if we get overwhelmed, my boy and my wife, my daughter, they come out, they drag brush, and it's a family show.
Yeah, anytime you own your own business, I've learned anytime, my wife, if she needs help, it's like I have to put everything down and make sure I'm there to help her. And it's just that important, right?
Labor's expensive. It costs money to pay people, and if I can get a 10-year-old to drag brush for free, I'm all right with that.
Maybe we should have more kids. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to talk to the wives about that. I don't know if she's going to be up for it, but all right. I will start the round. And anything you want to say about 3H Tree Service, real quick?
No, we just appreciate the support of the community. You know, we haven't been at this a whole very long. I think we're pushing 2 years, and we've got a lot of support from the community. We appreciate our return clients and everybody that's helped us get to where we're at. And we're hoping when the rain quits and the sun comes out, things are going to go gangbusters. So, those guys they're making pretty good time, Rob. So I might make this pretty easy on everybody. I'll tell you that they're at North Bayside Estates off of East Bay Drive, and that's kind of a big place. So you'll have to find them once they're there, but that'll help out. If those guys only got like an hour and a half left to work, so
well, give them that.
Them pretty quick.
Give out that clue again, real quick.
They're at North Bayside Estates. So if anybody wants to Google that, that'll get them in the ballpark. Or nice. The estate trailer park.
Nice. Good deal. All right, Matt, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Let me know when you get a winner.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. See, that's the wonderful thing about technology. If one thing fails, you can try something else. I've got a really good guest coming on, and he's running as a candidate for Senate District 1. And he's got a couple of competitors, but I think he has as good of a chance as winning as anyone else. And joining me right now is Paul Romero. Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, Rob. How about yourself? I know you've had some adjustments.
We just started Where's 3H Tree Service. It's a family business, and family businesses are hurting right now. And that's why I want to send people like you back to Salem, because all they ever seem to do to solve any problem is we need more money, more. And they've got several tax bills right now in the legislature. And if you go up there, the last thing you're going to do is raise taxes on us, right?
That's right. One thing I'll tell you about tree service, though, that is truly an art and a science.
Yes.
I've actually done this. So not to mention cutting wood in the Ochcos, but as far as taxes go, very simply, any Republican in office should not be voting for any bill that costs money. Not a single one. If anything, they should be nullifying existing bills, nullifying the cat tax, not trying to adjust it. It was a bad idea in the first place. It killed many businesses, and it should be nullified. So, and hopefully, maybe we can recover the businesses that were lost, including the jobs. So, I mean...
Do you think the Democrats are listening to that? Because it seems like we're all saying that same thing. Even businesses who usually support the Democrats are saying, look, this cat tax is killing us.
Well, I think what's one of the biggest problems we have is that don't put people in office. They can't represent you if they can't relate to you, right? That's a pretty simple thing. It's not complicated. It's definitely not rocket science, but apparently it is. And here in the state of Oregon, when you look at things, we're like one of the most taxed states in the union. And yet, what do we get for it, right? I mean, do we have better schools? With all the money that gets poured into them, are our kids getting real educations? It's a sorry state of affairs across the board. And my real big question is, where's all the money
going? They get tampons in the bathroom, and they get a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion shoved down their throat. So,
It's all indoctrination. But what's really kind of funny to me is that, did you know that every elected official goes through training that's basically, sustainability and Agenda 2030 indoctrination?
Yeah, actually, Bob Main and Rod Taylor both, and you know them, they're commissioners here. I think you know Rod Taylor at least, but Bob Main and Rod Taylor, every time they go through these types of courses and they mention the course that they have to go through to be a commissioner, they have spoke on that and all of the nonsense that they have to do to become a commissioner. And Bob was just really going off on it. a couple of months ago because he had to. I think they had to take a test or do something to become a commissioner. I really didn't. I guess I wasn't paying attention to that part. But yeah, this is incredible. It seems like all you really should do to win office is to win the election, right?
Well, the crazy part is this, and a lot of people, they always think that they're not qualified to run for office, right? And a couple of simple things: Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence. If you know those three things, you know what, and know how to read them and how to explain them, you should be running for. You can run for office. Now, if you have other life experiences that'll make the job easier, one of the biggest issues I'm learning about was actually the stress and intimidation that exists in there. And one of the problems I have is that I have not heard, apparently Bob, I haven't seen Bob discussing this, but I've not heard any candidate for office, not a representative for Congress or senator or a county commissioner, anybody complaining about this training. And this training is straight up sustainability, Agenda 2030 indoctrination. That's what it is. And the other thing is they have a bad habit of telling even a county commissioner, you're a state agent. They are not. They are county agents. Okay. And when you're a state agent, you get these little things, and this is kind of funny. I know you're big on the return to hand counting ballots, correct? Okay. And we have an Oregon statute. What's crazy is that in all the time that we've had mail-in ballots on the books, the actual Oregon state law, Oregon ORS 254.485, it is stated that basically it's a county level decision whether we do machine tallying or hand counting. Okay. We have that choice. That choice in the entire time that the mail-in ballot system has been employed has not been given to any Oregonian. And it's been arbitrarily decided by county clerks. Okay. That also will expose your county clerks for not being really representative of our law and our Constitution. The second thing, and this blew me away, and I don't know if you know about this one. Did you know that Shemia Fagan put forth a directive when she was Secretary of State, September 2nd, 2022? It's directive number 2022-4. Do you know what this is? You're going to love it. This is a statement that basically says, I'm supposed to help make it easier for the counties. And it says here basically that if you have 500 or less ballots or voters, that you can do hand counting. Otherwise, if you have more than that, you must use ballot counting machines. Well, that violates Oregon state law.
I was going to say, so that's a mandate. That's a mandate she put out that actually violates the state law that you just quoted, right? Yeah.
Yes, it does. And so, here's the worst part, though. Who's responsible for this? I'll tell you who. Our legislators, all of them, Democrats, Republicans, our county commissioners, our county clerks. They're all guilty because they've gone along with this crap, And the more I learn about the incestuous relationship that exists between a number of our elected officials, people we trust, we find out that we can't trust them, or they're spineless, or they're intimidated easily, or they're controlled easily. And so, a big part of this comes down to learning the truth and finding people that can handle the environment. And one thing I'm learning about the Senate district and our current incumbent is that there's this go along to get along crowd. And David Brock Smith has stated in public, well, I have to go along with the Democrats so I can get money for our district. Oh, you mean the money for your district to put windmills out off Coos Bay, right? Okay, this is insanity. This is stupidity. I'll say it. If he had any understanding or actually investigated any of the wind power on the East Coast, out in the oceans, all the failures, nothing but failures, excessive cost to taxpayers, he would never have suggested that. But as you know, that's really a Democrat thing, and he's really representing Democrats. If anything, he really needs to change parties.
I would agree with you. Yeah. The things he's done is just the bills that he's voted for. I want to get to that windmill thing. In fact, I'll play a video here for you in a second. You're going to love it. But Terry Noonkester, do you know Terry Noonkester? She's on the Central. Okay, so she's on the Central Committee for Douglas County. I forget which position she holds, but she also filed an initiative to return Douglas County back to a hand count county. You count them; they happen the same day. And she filed this initiative that she was going to try to get signatures, put it on the ballot, and they refused her, but not for the 3 reasons that you can legitimately deny a ballot. I think it has to be a single subject, which it was. It has to be complete wording, and so you have it there. So can you believe they denied it?
This is what they're using. Daniel Loomis, our Douglas County clerk, who, to be honest, is not a conservative Republican by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, he's part of the little good old boy club. Anyway, that directive from the Secretary of State Shemia Fagan, who, as we know, is no longer the Secretary of State, shortest term as Secretary of State ever, and for good reason. They're using this. Well, we have to follow the instructions of the Secretary of State. No, not when it violates state law. And if you have a petitioner that brings that to your attention, number 1, you better take action. Number 2, at the bare minimum, you have to put it on the ballot and let us all decide. Right?
That's right.
That's the deal. And so again, they're not even playing fair. They're not playing by the rules. They just invent them as they need and see fit. But it's real important. It exposes people that are in office that shouldn't be there. And Daniel Loomis should not be there. He is not. Matter of fact, I've had long conversations about the violations of our election process as far as dirty voter rolls, which is a requirement for federal elections. They must be clean voter rolls. They know they're not. All these little things, but he insists that there's been no voter fraud at all in the 2020 elections. None. Okay. Wow. It's just amazing. So just to let you know, I don't know if you knew, but Rosa Renfro is actually running for Douglas County clerk. And this gal has a legal background. She's helped a number of things go down here in Douglas County. And let me tell you what, she's a researcher. She deals in truth, not just facts, truth. And she's fair to everybody. It's just her nature. But I think fundamentally, any candidate that's true to the Constitution falls into the same category, And a lot of people give it a lot of lip service, but they don't follow through. And one of the ways for us as voters or citizens to know if the people we have in office are doing a good job is to go look at the ratings at CPAC. As you know, I think you may remember Ronald Reagan basically said, hey, if you're not getting an 80% or better rating on CPAC, you're not a conservative Republican. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
And well, guess what? We have people. Oh my gosh. I think David Brock Smith is like at a 62%.
Actually, he is at 68 for a lifetime vote, but still 68 is a D. That's a D when I went to high school, right?
It's atrocious, And I saw a meme out recently about him and his Chinese Communist Party pledge pin. By the way, if you notice this picture in his new article, that pin is missing off his lapel now.
Interesting.
Yeah, boy, he's just given too much ammunition. It's wonderful. I love it. But it's the truth. This is not opinions. This is the truth. And he's one of the biggest proponents for the Oregon China Council. Yep. There's the one I think that has the, oh gosh, I can't remember. I know. There it is. There's
pledge pin.
His Chinese Communist Party pledge pin. That's right. Above his UN pin.
Yeah.
And I think that's a UN pin.
I believe so.
The Chinese Communist Party pin is no longer there. And I have a feeling it has to do with that meme that came out to expose it. So the truth is the truth. The one thing that never changes is the truth. Facts can change because we have our perceptions, right? We once thought we were the center of the universe. That was a fact.
Right.
Guess what? Turns out we were wrong. It wasn't the truth. And now we know our place in the world. So, but yeah, there you go. Love the movie and love the history here in Oregon too, in Eugene and Dexter. If you ever get a chance, you want to go to the where Otis Day and the Knights played that night. That's it's actually a barbecue place in Dexter across from the lake. And they still have one wall that has the zebra wallpaper print with a couple of Delta House memorabilia things there. So, and it's really good barbecue. So I would
I'm
recommend
going to
it.
have to go there. I didn't realize that still existed. That's still up,
Yeah.
huh?
Hey, we got some cool
Wow.
history in this state. And, this is some of the things I've used with the younger population I've been talking to, because they've been so screwed. The millennials and zennials, when I told them, I said, listen, you guys haven't fully developed yet, and I know you guys have a lot of negative connotations, and I get it. But here's the thing. You can change it. And the way you change it is the same way we did. We
Yeah.
took the advice and the mentorship of the older generations, the boomers, the greatest generation and all that. And Generation X, we're a pretty awesome generation. We're kind of cool. We can hang out with anybody, And I said, but you guys have the potential to be Generation X squared. You can be all that we were, but even more. And the thing is, we kind of have a responsibility to help get you there, And so when I talk to the younger people lately, it's just been a lot of fun, and they're getting motivated about this stuff. I have a questionnaire I'm filling out for the young Republicans that's got some great questions in it, and I'll get that submitted this evening. But again, one of the problems we have with a lot of candidates, they're a little long in the tooth. They lack the ability to relate to our younger people.
Yeah.
And that creates a problem, because they just want to tune you out. I got my gray. Yeah, I've earned every bit of it, 57. But the fact is, I'm a young 57. And, I got my prestige level 25 in Call of Duty too. I can go talk to them on their level a little bit. Still have my Sims Kamikaze skateboard, So the thing is, they don't realize that we Gen Xers, we have a history too, just like them.
Right.
And if anything, maybe we kind of lit the candle initially. And their potential, man, that's the thing that excites me the most about these young people. And I tell them, so listen, you don't even know what your potential is, and you're being told you have none. Okay? School system, they're telling you have no potential, but that's a lie. And what I'm telling them is, you have way more potential than you realize, and we got to help manifest it. We have to find it out and get you moving. So part of it is getting involved with the state, being a voter.
Do you have any kids?
Actually, I have a total of 5 children. 3 are my own, 2 foster daughters, and they're all. The youngest one is 23. He lives actually in Burns, and he's going to a mechanic school. He's a natural mechanic,
Cool.
And him and I are tight. We talk car stuff all the time, but I love this state. I grew up in the state, and I want to retire in the state and stay here all the days of my life. But the path that we're on is not going to allow that. It's going to probably force us at some point to sell and move on. We don't want to do that. So, part of what I'm doing is I'm fighting it tooth and nail. And I want this to be a place that our youth can actually own a home, own property. I mean, we sell acreage to Chinese Communist Party members, nationals, for a discounted price.
Right.
Won't sell it to our own people here in Oregon. And I am sick and tired of this. And David Brock Smith, this guy is the biggest. He's representing China here in Oregon. He is not representing me. He's not representing the District 1 voters at all. And for all the things he's submitted lately, there's some good bills kind of, but most of them are just adding more money or manipulating it some. The fact is that these are things he could have introduced years ago in the House, right? So why is he now doing it? I'll tell you why.
You know why, right?
I'm exposing him to the world, and they're finding that he is a hairless backside,
Yeah.
And it's just fun for that kind of exposure.
I got a question for you, Paul. I thought this was the short session, so he can actually only have 2 bills, but he has a list of, I think, about 20. What is he? Is he really BSing us?
One of his claims to fame, which, by the way, I would not brag about at all, is that he, of all Republicans, has submitted more bills than any Republican. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. How much did all those bills, how much, if they would have been approved, would have cost us more money? Right? So there's the first problem with that. The second problem is the only bill he's ever got passed through the Democrats was the windmills off the coastline of Coos County.
Right.
Okay. And the crazy part is, we're the environmentalists. They should be screaming bloody murder. We got an endangered bird that nests out on the ocean out there, right?
Yep.
We got fishing. We got all kinds of stuff that we have out there. We have to deal with Fukushima radiation that seems to float across the ocean to our coastline, right? And affecting our seafood and what have you. So,
Sorry.
okay. So what exactly, why did he do that? The windmills on shore, when they break down, are hard enough to work on and create an environmental mess. What are we going to do on the ocean? They didn't want anybody drilling off our coast, by the way, but they're willing to put these windmills. And then the other question is, who are we going to pay to build these windmills and install them? Oh, that's right, China. What the heck? Right?
So that leads me right into this video that I'm sure you've seen, but I want you to watch because David Brock Smith, going back to 2010, and I have the documentation on this, has supported the windmill project all the way up till 2021 and all the way up until he found out that the people didn't want it. And I'm going to play this video. You're going to love it.
House Bill 3375, relating to floating offshore wind energy and prescribing an effective date.
Question now arises upon third reading and final passage of House Bill 3375A. Representative Brock Smith.
Madam Speaker, colleagues, I'm excited to bring you House Bill 3375. I think this is potentially one of the other great bills of this session. House Bill 3375 is going to set up a planning with the Oregon Department of Energy to look at working with BOEM and other federal agencies on 3 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030. Colleagues, as being part of the Environmental and Energy Committee since becoming a member of this legislative body, I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am about the possibility of moving forward not only with this offshore wind opportunities and the investments that are coming from the federal governments under the Biden administration, but the opportunity to possibly power from that offshore wind a renewable hydrogen facility in the Port of Coos Bay. And at that point, having the state of Oregon being an energy exporter rather than an energy importer. So this idea transcends other legislation that we have in this body. But the planning needs to start now. Senator Beyer has Senate Bill 333 that looks at planning for those hydrogen facilities. The president has said he wants to see 50 of those renewable hydrogen facilities around the nation, and we have a great opportunity to actually fund renewable hydrogen, fund renewable hydrogen with federal help, but power it with other renewable energy. And some people have asked, well, Representative, why are you bringing this bill forward? Well, I've always believed in renewables and how we can access their energy as long as it's affordable for our residents. But more importantly, in this instance, that wind resource that we have off of Oregon is off of my district. And so the fishers that are going to be impacted by this process, I've been in dialogue with through this process and will continue to be in collaboration with them as we move forward with this process. So colleagues, this is an exciting opportunity for Oregon to get in front of the planning that's necessary to have this resource. And I would appreciate your aye vote. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate your aye vote.
Well, he's got three options here. Either he's an idiot and is very representative of Flounder and Animal House, or he's complicit, and or he's leveraged up to the top of his head. Okay? And I'm going to go probably with the first one here, because for me, my background, as a mechanical engineer, in Louisiana, we have this wind expert guy. We also had a wave expert guy. And he said that basically the big windmills, they didn't pay for themselves. They were not economically viable in any way. However, smaller windmills, literally the size which you put on the farm, right? Those did work. Those were economically viable. Yep. And what he proposed was all the oil platforms we had in the Gulf of Mexico to install multiple windmills out there, and they would be maintained by whatever oil production company would be operating the platform at the time. There's rentals and stuff, and they have a landline that they get power from, but they also can send power back. So when the rig's in operation, it's pulling and using electricity from these windmills, and when it's not, it gets pumped back to the States, right? And it worked. The whole idea was totally in the groove. It was going to work and fine. And here in Oregon, it can too. But we need some different types of windmills. The ones we have now, I'm still stunned by how many birds they kill. And have you ever watched the video about how the birds get hit?
Oh yeah, it's not a kind thing. It's pretty vicious.
But the thing is, I kept wondering, are birds just retarded? No. Turns out they don't look up. That's the simple excuse. They don't look up if they did it. Oh, shoot. That was a close one. No.
Right.
That's what happens to all. It doesn't even matter what size the bird, right? So apparently they don't feel the pressure wave of that blade coming towards them like a dolphin feels in the ocean in front of a ship, you know? So there are better solutions to our energy. And he's talking about being a gross exporter of energy. Well, California's been sucking up our energy like crazy as it is. And that's going to be putting us to brownouts and blackouts in Oregon, which we really don't experience. And until you experience one, you're not going to be happy when that happens, you know? So they're trying to take out dams. Hydroelectric's one of the best things we have. Our coal fire plant that we had in the gorge was so clean, was so efficient. It had less emissions than the stockyard just down the road. Okay. And I'm sorry, but you know what the worst part is? The people that killed that, they didn't just shut it down. They destroyed it so it couldn't be used. What does that tell you? Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're on the march down a very scary road with undependable energy resources. And like you said, coal, we were getting to the point where we could process, there was technology that could process the coal to make it a better, cleaner burning element than anything we have today. Coal was on its way to be, China's doing it right now. And China isn't anywhere near as sophisticated as our coal burning plants here. And it's just sad what they have done to our society. And like you said, when you go through a brownout, that means that everyone's in a brownout. Whatever's in your refrigerator is going to go bad. Whatever that you were planning on doing on the internet or on TV or whatever you were going to use electricity for, that's done with for what? 2, 3 days, a week, 10 days? Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, there's pictures of England during the centuries back where coal was how they heated everything, right? And it got to the point where it was so bad that people were dying on the streets because there was not enough air to breathe, right? Well, I lived in Turkey, and they do burn coal pretty openly for heating and what have you. And I got to admit, there's this haze that just hangs in the air. It's not the healthiest thing to breathe or anything like that. But here in America and here in Oregon, I look out my window every day. I don't see any pollution except for occasional chemtrail, okay? We have some of the cleanest air and water in the country, and yet there's still improvement to be made. I mean, water quality, there's a whole big issue about that. And if you go look at the actual water quality measurements, you find out that most of our drinking water does not pass. Okay. And between, we don't want fluoride in the water. It needs to be gone. Chlorine in the water, kind of understand some of that, but there's other things in the water too. And, it's a slow process. And like I said, I'm an environmentalist. I want our trees. I want our forests. I want our camping grounds and all that. But right now, it's like they're either burning it or trying to keep us out of it.
Right.
We don't get to use it. And we have people in the legislature, to me, they're not fighting enough. They're not disrupting enough. So when I was asked the question, it's one of the hardest questions to answer as a candidate. Why are you going to run for office, right? Okay, well, it's simple. We need disruptors right now. We don't have majorities, so we need disruptors. We need people that's going to take people to task. And what that also means is this. All the information I can gather, ethics violations, anything below board for any representative in the legislature, I'm going after. And I'm going to make it public. And I'm going to provide truth, hard facts, hard evidence, and I'm going to hold them accountable. and I'm going to leverage them to the hilt if that's what it takes. Because if we have to get Oregon, if we're going to get Oregon back on track, we have to get our legislature back. We have to get that governor's seat back, because they are taking us right down the toilet. That has been very evident. And look at how many Oregonians are now leaving the state. They finally said, I've given up. And
it's sad. It's sad. The whole younger generation wants to get the hell out of here, and I really am finding a hard argument to stop them.
Yeah, and I guess for me, what I'm trying to convince them of is, listen, if you guys can help us put the right people back in office, and they have spines and cojones, and they're willing to get in there and do the heavy lifting, we can fix this. And you guys can be part of that. One of the greatest things that we can do is, as Gen Xers, is be mentors. The biggest shortfall I see for the younger people now, they really don't have mentors. Their mentors are like their own age with no life experience. Those are the last people that should be mentoring, them. It just doesn't, it falls flat. It falls short. So one of the things I ask the young people is, do me a favor, go find a mentor, an older neighbor, a veteran, somebody, and get some wisdom and some insight, because you don't have to repeat the mistakes that we've made or anybody else. You can learn from that. And we want you to be successful, because if you're successful, we're going to be happy till our death. We're going to be good to go. You guys got to carry that on. But this isn't being taught. The state of Oregon has a law requires 4 years of civics in high school. Currently, they're almost getting none. There's a couple schools that are teaching some civics, but not to the level they're supposed to be. And as we dumb down our young people, we're killing their inspiration, their motivation, their potential. And for me, I'm a trainer. I'm an educator type of guy. My first degree is in workforce education and development. Yeah, I think that's something Oregon could use right now. I understand the importance of the trade schools and the trades, from automotive to carpentry to tile work to duct work to electrical work, plumbing, all that stuff. And by the way, those are great paying jobs.
They're great paying jobs. And the fact is, Paul, is every time I need one of those people from those vocations, it gets really hard in Bandon to find a good plumber, a good electrician, a good carpenter, a good contractor. All of that is getting harder and harder to find, because these kids, they want to make $25 an hour by forcing McDonald's and Burger King to pay them that, or somehow they think they're going to get into a job where they're going to become management and it's just going to be easy street, when the fact is and I know, you have to start out at the bottom when you get a job. It's at the bottom. You got to work your way up. And I think part of it is education. Part of it is this leftist idea of equity, that somehow we're all going to be able to be on easy street, and they're filling these young kids full of fluff, and it's trying to make them believe that they're able to walk into the job world and someone's going to hire them as CEO. And it's just not going to happen. And it's just frustrating to watch the attitude of some of these kids.
See, I use a phrase of walking people through the logic, right? If you're going to help somebody get to a point where they might want to be, but they don't really know how to get there, part of being a mentor is you kind of shine a light on the right steps, and you guide them till they get there. And once they get there, they look back and say, whoa, I did it. And you say, yeah, you did it. That's right. Well, you helped me. I said, no, I guided you a little bit, but you got yourself there. You did the work. That's the important thing. Growing up, all these jobs we had when we were younger were transitional, whether it was fast food or shoveling out pigsties, horse stalls, bucket bales, changing pipe. I've done all that stuff. I built fences. I've driven people, So I did my time in the trenches. And by the way, I kind of enjoy doing some of that stuff even now. But the thing is that honest work is respectful work, and too many of our youth are being basically told, oh, no, you can go right to the top. But those people that tell them that do not show them a path to it, because it doesn't exist. And it's kind of like, how every 10 years we have like a crisis. Oh, no, we're all going to die. We're all going to be out of oil in the 1960s in 10 years, ice age in 10 years. Acid rain is going to destroy all the farms and all the food. And they keep giving us these 10-year projections, right? And every time they've lied, okay? They just use these things to steal more money from us in taxes. Well, it sounds like we need to put more taxes to cover this. Yeah, okay, give me. No, not another freaking penny more for any of this stuff. And as far as like mandates for vaccines and what have you, no, and no. And Oregonians with the right people in the legislature that are really leading and being vocal, we need that type of leadership. We just do. And I know a lot of great people that would do well to do that, but they choose not to.
Right.
Sometimes they just don't want to have to deal with the hassle. I mean, suffering the slings and arrows of BS out the wazoo. I get that. Controlled opposition is out there, and they're trying to hunt you down.
Yep.
And you know what I've been through, right? So
Right.
It's a matter. You still have to fight those fights, even though they shouldn't even exist. But you still have to fight the fights, and then after you do, the only thing they're left to do is invent something, right? So my attitude is go on the offensive. Stop playing defense. Go on the offensive. So that's what I'm gonna do when I get in the legislature. When I get into this Oregon Senate, man, I'm gonna rally those troops and get them inspired and motivated again to go after. Because I know they have the dirt on everybody in the legislature. It exists, and it is time to expose these people and let their constituents know how they are violating them, right? And then we can change some things. And you ever take one of those tests to figure out where you're at? Conservative, liberal.
Oh, yeah,
Republican?
yeah.
Okay. And I take it about once a year, and I pretty much stay a little bit right of center and a little bit north. Okay. Fundamentally, that's where the Constitution resides. Okay. I understand what freedom actually is. You decide. If you want to run around with scissors, I can't stop you, right? That's your prerogative to do something not too smart and take the risks, But at the same time, I keep looking at the Republican platform. Do you know what's missing from that platform? Their stance on abortion.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is
Well,
where
they're afraid of that. They're not going to take a
See,
stance on that.
it's compromise again. And once you just
Yeah.
ignore it, you're not even taking a stand. So here's my thing to anybody. I'm a Christian. Fundamentally, I don't believe in abortion. I just don't. But okay, say abortion is going to be illegal here in Oregon. Fine. There's no legitimate reason that taxpayer money should be used in any way, shape, or form to assist that process. Period. So we take the money out of it, and they do it on their own. Your indiscretion is not my responsibility. Okay, and it's not any taxpayer's responsibility, whether they're Democrats or otherwise. Doesn't matter. And I think that's the path forward. Still okay, fine. People, you have a choice. You get to make the choice. Maybe we'll fix that in the future, but I think it's a matter of educating the people first, so that they go, yeah, we need to fix this. We could do this. But the thing is, if it works out right, you really don't need the law. I mean, think about all the extra laws they keep piling on. How many people, Oregonians, read 400 new laws Tina Kotek did in the first year or something?
Yeah, ridiculous. Oh, it's ridiculous how many things they just keep piling and piling on.
That's just proof of their inability to write good laws in the past. So my thing is, okay, let's go back in time. Let's go nullify this, because it shouldn't even be there. It's violating the Constitution, right? Let's get rid of this. We're going to get rid of that because, we screwed it all up way back when. Let's shrink the laws. Let's get them back to where they're manageable and where every Oregonian can actually learn them and kind of know them, right? And also stay within the boundaries of the Constitution. It's not hard. Yet, what that tells me with our legislature, again, they're either not very bright or they really don't have a plan of attack to deal with what we're dealing with, or they're trying to kind of soft shoe it. I mean, it's like Dennis Linthicum and Art Robinson, right? These are two of the probably smartest guys in our legislature.
Yep.
I mean, bar none, right? And yet, how effective can they be? Those two guys are not the guys on a rugby field going, okay, guys, we're losing, but you know what? We're going to freaking find a way to win. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get intense. Let's make it happen. That's what we're missing. We're missing that anima, that putting your hands on things to get things done. And we have the knowledge, we have the Constitution, We just need the people willing to pick up the ball and carry it across the finish line.
You mentioned Lithicum and you mentioned Robinson, and Thatcher is another one. And that to me has always been the problem with a lot of Republicans, is that they talk a great game. They probably would have agreed with you with everything you just said, but they too, even though their voting record is well above and beyond what David Brock Smith is
92%.
getting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's great, and I use Lithicum as a standard when I'm judging all the other votes in the that come out of the legislature. But like you just said, they're not ready to play hardball. They don't seem to be wanting to get in there and hurt people's feelings. And then that includes other fellow Republicans. And that's why I'm in the doghouse with the Republican Party, local Republican Party, because I have really ticked a lot of people off because I have asked questions about things that I have a lot of curiosity about. I have, David Brock Smith and that windmill bill. I mean, that was clearly a pro windmill bill. Anyone who read it couldn't deny that. And yet they're still willing to protect this senator because he's one of their guys. He's one of the good guys. And, he's going to do whatever he can to help us. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the man is compromised. I'm not even willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that you have given him, which is beautiful. I'm telling you, I think this man is compromised. I think he has sold us out. And I think the Republican Party is covering for their own. In fact, I feel like I need a box of Kleenex when I go to the Republican Party and hand it out to them so they can wipe the brown spot off their nose. I mean, it's pathetic. And that's why I would love to see someone like you, because I know you're a bomb thrower. I know you're willing to ask those tough questions, and you're willing to make a ruckus when people aren't willing to make that ruckus. Lithicum is not. Robinson is not. Kim Thatcher, she got screwed over by Tim Knopp, and she still talks nicely about him, and it just frustrates the hell about to me. It's just, I'd be calling him a son of a bitch on the Senate floor. And I don't get it.
Walt Whitman once said, be curious, not judgmental. And I modify that a little bit in be curious, ask questions. And I ask people, ask questions. Why are we paying this money? How much are we really saving? What did we used to pay for this? Ask the questions and get the answers. Find the truth. You're way better off. But once you have the truth, then you got to pass some judgment, And for Christians out there, if you're going to judge, you judge righteously. You judge with truth. You don't judge with opinion and emotion, right? So that's kind of been lost to us, but it's there. It's available to us just at the drop of a hat. Whenever I see, I love that one. Oh, New Green Deal. How to destroy our coastline even more. Yeah. The Republicans, they seem to have this like certain etiquette. And this etiquette they have where they don't really expose each other. It's so that they don't expose them. And my thing is, there's nothing to expose. Game on.
Right.
let's do this. And people like Kurt Robinson does something. Hey, guess what? They're in my same boat. There's nothing bad in their history. So they can actually subdue that fight, but that's not who they are. These guys have been men of science. I mean, Dennis, I remember first things he was writing, man, I had to get it out the dictionary a couple times,
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Bring the level down a bit for your average Oregonian. Just how it is. You got to be able to relate to the people in a way that they understand. And so far, we are not seeing that being exercised like it should be. But like I said, Tim Knopp, I can't remember where he used that on the CPAC offhand. But even Drazen was, I think, around 72, 75%.
Yep.
Disappointing. This should not be at all, But then this is a point you had made, but you didn't make it all the way. You talked about a gentleman who was a big billionaire Democrat donor out of California. Okay, it's a fact. It's the truth. Okay, not just a fact; it's the truth. Well, he moves to Oregon, and he becomes an independent. But even while he was a Democrat, he was in California. He was donating to certain Republican candidates, and that includes Drazen and David Brock Smith.
Right.
Okay. And we're trying to find all the other ones that he's actually been donating to. Well, the problem is the fact that I guess this gentleman is registered to vote in Oregon and California and has been voting in both states.
He voted in 2020 in the presidential primary in Oregon as the independent party, as he's registered, and he voted as a Democrat in San Francisco. And they're telling you and me that there is no voter fraud. Do you know there are 400 second houses in Bandon? And I wonder how many of those second house owners are getting 2 ballots and then putting those 2 ballots into the mail. I mean, come on.
And the thing is, he's a billionaire. He's probably going to buy his way out of this one. But apparently somebody has submitted him for this investigation with all the evidence. He can't deny the evidence. So the question is how they're going to punish him, right? The other question, though, is this. It's back to Drazen. It's back to Dave Brock Smith. What are you going to do to correct this? Is he going to turn away money? No, of course not. That's not what politicians do. Now, statesmen like myself do. My goal is to totally always represent the people. So I'm not going to probably get any real big money from any major organizations. I'll do what I can, but for me, with even this campaign is going to be low cost across the board. I'm really very happy with that.
And it's a quick campaign if you don't win. It's done in May, middle of May. It's over.
Well, the way I look at it is once I win in May, then literally I'm going to spend the rest of the time going door to door through these 3 counties and talk to every voter I can. I want them to hear my contract with Oregonians. I want them to see that and be able to read it and then give me some feedback. It's not all inclusive. It's going to adjust with time, but you got to have that type of relationship with the people. If you're going to represent them, then you make the effort. But we've not seen that effort with too many people running for office, right?
No, not at all.
I talked with a gal in Florence, real nice lady, Patty, yesterday for an hour and a half. And I answered every question she had. And she was stunned with what I knew and what I could regurgitate back and explain to her. And was so happy. She was like, wow, I wish I was in District 1. You'd be getting my vote. I said, well, you at least know what you should be looking for in a candidate, right?
Right.
But the other thing is you need to be helping look for candidates. That's one of the hardest things we have. Here in Douglas County, we need 3 new commissioners. I'm sorry, we just do. These guys, they used to have term limits. They voted them out. We definitely need a new county clerk. Thankfully, we have a good candidate for that. And I'm actually helping her with her campaign. We need good candidates for city council. I asked some people here in Douglas County, who's your mayor? I don't even know who the mayor is. I don't even know what the mayor has done or accomplished in all the time they've been there. And you see movies where the mayor's out there pressing the flash and talking to the people. I don't see it. It's
AWOL, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you what. It's like, okay, just keep sending me the paycheck. I'll sit in this office and collect my paycheck. And so again, we have people in office that are not mingling with the public. And you can't have that. That doesn't work. That creates that unrelatability problem. So for me, it takes time to spend time with a voter that just calls me on the phone and has questions. But whenever it happens, I take the time, and for me, it's kind of exciting. The downside is I get to literally answer the same questions over and over.
Yeah. Well, you get good at it. That's why David Brock Smith is getting, he's good at it because he polishes it up each and every time because he gets a lot of practice at it. No, most politicians do.
Well, what's funny is when he won that appointment or won the top 3, they had a vote for Dallas Hurd's seat. And I ended up in line to register right behind him. I hit him with every question I could come up with on China. He didn't have a good answer for anything. And the group of people that were around us that kind of started to huddle in and listen to the conversation. And I was just like, wow, this guy really is an idiot. I just impressed that he could to celebrate that type of idiocy, And by the way, Dallas Hurd, one thing about Dallas, he's a good guy. Dallas is actually a decent, good human being. And that was his problem because he's never been through a process of stress management or to be able to handle that type of pressure, because in the position he was in, it should have been a great representative. The problem is he was getting it from all sides. He's being pressured by everyone and everything, trying to force him, a square peg to a round hole. Okay. And he got to the point where he just said, you know what? No, I'm just not going to do it. I'm out. That stress was too much for him. Now, for me, I'm built a lot different. My career in the Navy was a cryptologic technician. And over time, they changed that to cryptologic technician networks. And now it's been changed again, same job, but cyber warfare technician. Okay.
Right.
And so I have a pretty extensive classified background. Now, in the course of that, what they learned was that people in my career field, if you came in at 18, did 20 years and retired, by 4 years after you retired, by the ripe old age of 42, you dropped dead of a heart attack. It was over. That was your life. And because of it, they kind of implemented a stress management training that was almost an annual type of deal. And so they're constantly teaching you about how to deal with stress, how to manage it. And that's important. I think everybody should go through that training, to be honest. But because of it, it's allowed me to go through purgings by fire, even though the fire wasn't necessary, but I can still do that. I can get through it. Yes, right. It's exhausting. Yes, it'll put some gray hairs on your head, but it's about our perseverance, that never give up, never say die mentality. And for me, as a veteran, I took an oath a long time ago, and that oath doesn't just end. I take it seriously. And if I got to beat somebody over the head like it's a club with it, so be it. We got to do what we got to do.
We got to do what we got to do. I got a few minutes left. The infighting with the Republican Party, I kind of got to, I'm not a Republican. I'm going to register as a Republican just so I can vote against David Brock Smith. That's how bad this guy is. But I want to show you his behavior at one of the last Coos County Republican Central Committee meetings. This is another. I didn't know we were recording.
No problem?
No, thank you. Okay. And so actually it is, because I don't trust you to cut and paste anything and use it later. And so please stop recording me. Thank you.
I disagree.
Will you please stop recording me as well?
I disagree, because you've already slandered me and my dad's family in front of 140 people at the Douglas County.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Okay, well, I'm not going to allow you to intimidate me by any means, but...
Go ahead and speak. This is transparent.
It is, actually, but you two individuals will try to use it and cut it and put it in a video or whatever.
That's what press does.
You're not the press.
Well, that's because of you.
You're my opponent's campaign manager.
Absolutely.
And anyway, so now you know the fighting within, folks.
I can't stop it.
Well, no, it's fine. So I do want to say that I am happy to have my record talked about, but I really will push back when you lie about it. And when you sit there and you want to spread misinformation, when you want to, Diane Rich, go have meetings and say that I was forced, that I was forced to give my England Marine check back because they wanted it back, is a lie. And
it was untrue, and guess what? It was a question. Again, David, you misunderstand.
No, it wasn't.
You can ask a question. I noticed in the Secretary of State filings that England Marine had returned the $5,000 donation to him. And I asked my friend, Leonard Krug, at the Oregon Anglers Association if he knew anything about it. That's all I did. Is that okay with you, Dave?
Well,
okay.
What got back to me was that there was a group of people that you met with, and you said that I was forced to give it back because they wanted it back. So I am good to go when it comes to defending my record. I have a 68.68% CPAC record. I have a 68.8% feedback record. I swear the guy was on something, man. I've known David since he was a bartender in Port Starboard Restaurant, and I'm telling you, he was not in his right zone there.
That's a cornered rat. See, when people know that to a large degree you're kind of right, you're speaking the truth. I mean, as far as whether he was asked to turn a donation back or whatever, I really don't even care. But you pose questions, and like I said, be curious, not judgmental, right? So you got to be a little careful in your curiosity, just to be fair. And I can appreciate being respectful, but at some point you're going to have to drop the hammer, right? And I think with him, not my attitude about recording me wherever I go, I don't care. Right. I don't even bring it up, but I also know now, oh my gosh, they could get me like beating up baby seals up in the Arctic. It looked like me doing it, right? So yeah, you just come to grips with that, and the hope is that people know you well enough to go, he's never been to the Arctic.
Yeah, I've never seen him with seal boots. I don't know. Hey,
exactly.
We've got to take a break right now. I've got Tim Stillen on from Tom and Gigs, and he's got to plug his business because I got to pay the bills. And joining us right now is Tim. Tim, how you doing, man?
Good. Doing good. Just kind of busy. That's the way it is. Just like you right now, you're on the warpath again. So that's good, man. Hopefully we learned something from the last time around.
Oh yeah, big time. And warpath is right. My new campaign staff and campaign manager, we were geared up to work for the governor's race in 2026. That's what we've been preparing for already. And it got to the point where I was getting phone calls saying, we need you to run for office here in Oregon now. We can't wait till 2026. We need you to get in there and disrupt. We need someone to get in there and fight. And I'm like, okay, let me look into this. And I dug a little deeper into DBS and was like, oh dear God, this is bad. I can't even, I'm stunned. And right now we have more Chinese illegal immigrants crossing the border, and I'm waiting for them all to show up in Oregon since China's been buying up all our land and apartments and farms and ranches and everything, right? So they have plenty of places to hide them. Okay. No, okay, it's time to fight. It's time to get him out of there. Let him go back to bartending. That's fine. Hopefully he was good at that. But it basically is like, okay, the fight is now. And with President Trump this year, same thing. This is a fight for America. It's a fight for Oregon. And Oregon needs to turn around and start benefiting from what is benefiting the rest of the country. When Trump was in office for 4 years, we still benefited residually, but not to the potential we should have, all because of Kate Brown and the people running our legislature. So once we're on the same track with Trump, boy, you're going to see the biggest economic turnaround you've ever seen in any state in the state of Oregon. And we have the potential to do it. That's the thing that kills me. It's right there. We got to get rid of all the incest.
Yeah, it's a sad deal. Just like you said, drill, baby, drill. And now it's cut, baby, cut. Cut them trees and replant and do whatever instead of letting them burn down. Cut them down and make them useful product.
Hey, one of my bills I'm going to submit is for development of oil and gas in Eastern Oregon, right? We're going to take the land back from the feds and do our own oil and gas because there's a lot of places out there that's just not being used for anything, old uranium mines, what have you. And the thing about that is, hey, Oregonians, how would you like to not have any state income tax and get a little check at the end of the year like they do in Alaska?
Yeah, it'd be great. That'd be great. I wouldn't hear too many people arguing about keeping money in their pocket. That's for sure. So,
but see, any elected official, that should be their number one priority is how to cut taxes, fees, and save Oregonians money. That should be their number one top priority across the board. And what you're seeing is people trying to pretend like they're moving that way, but you're not really seeing it in their actions from the past and fully not in the present.
Sure. All the wasted money. There's so much wasted money on, everybody's a human being, but all these people that get freebies all the time, they have no incentive to go to work because they get all these nice little things that the government does for them. Because, we all feeling, like a bleeding heart for all these people. I think you need to evaluate all those people find out who can hold a job, who can't hold a job. If they can't, if they're that mentally messed up or drugged out, then get clean. If you can't do it, then you're going to have to get them out of society because they're parasites. I hate to say it. It's just out here in Empire, especially. It's I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to get ugly. Some people are going to do some things that you don't want to see happen, unfortunately. And people are getting fed up with their property destroyed, their business going down. Ours has gone down. Who do I go to for the revenue that I've lost here? And the upkeep and all that. So kind of irritating when somebody drives up to your place and they ask, well, what's all these people out here about? And this kind of freaks them out, especially in the car wash next door. It's pretty crazy because we got people vacuuming their cars out there and stuff. And all of a sudden people are walking up behind them, scrounging through their stuff. Like, holy crap, that scares the crap out of you. These people aren't exactly look like the pillars of society. And plus, I think they're a health menace anyway. They never shower or anything. It's pretty disgusting. So I don't know. That alone, that's always a pet peeve of mine because we see it every day and it's kind of in your crawl all the time. But we got to get this Devereaux Center thing out of here. I don't know. Get a match and a gallon of gas. I hate to say it, but it's ridiculous. I mean, this place is it's gross. And why aren't all those? If that's such a great place, then why are they all in the streets? Why aren't they hanging at the Devereaux? Stay over there on their property, on their thing, and let them deal with all the garbage versus out here where us normal tax-paying, business people are doing good for the community. And I just don't understand it. So I think they should be held liable for all this crap personally. They bring them here. Hey, you're responsible for them just like a child, right? You got to be responsible. And I don't know what to do. But anyway, we try to be responsible with all the cards we do. We try to do the best we can. And, hey, if we ever make a mistake, we're the first one to admit it. We take care of the problem. And,
that's your reputation,
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody knows you guys. And by the way, the Democrats of our state, they have created these problems. They've expanded on them. They've grown our homeless problem from 11% to 23, 22%. And matter of fact, DBS is responsible for the homeless camp that they put in Sutherland, for crying out loud. And that's just another garbage fire.
Right.
And yet I don't hear him bragging about that right now. Hey, credit where credit is due, be it good, bad, or indifferent. That is fair, right?
Right.
Well, let's give him the credit he's due. Let's get him out of office.
Yep, absolutely. No, hopefully we'll do that. Hopefully people are waking up and fed up, and by golly, whether it's mail in or not, I guess, like it is what it is until we get rid of that little goofy system, maybe, right? So
yeah, there you go.
If you get one vote one day, you can't make it. I'm sorry. That's it. I appreciate. I'm glad you're on here.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think the first step in every county is if your county clerk is not willing to put that on the ballot, claiming the Secretary of State rules, which they don't, then you have to replace the county clerk. Once you replace the county clerk, the first thing that should happen is an immediate ballot petition that puts it on a ballot right that next week, that month, whatever the maximum time is, and let the voters decide machine tallying or hand counting. And then get involved in that hand counting, right?
Right.
That has to happen in every county in the state because we can't trust the equipment. We just cannot. And then I have people telling me here in Roseburg that the postal vehicles would be driving along, sticking things in the mailboxes, and a car coming up behind them, checking them all, pulling out ballots, but the people's actual ballots for the home were still there. So they knew what other ballots were going to be in that mail that day. They knew ahead of time. They knew which ones to leave and which ones to take. So again, clean voter rolls and ID, and we need precincts and go back to how we used to do it. It was fine, and we got them counted before midnight. It's not like we have a population of 100 million in Oregon, right?
Yeah,
right.
No, exactly.
and Texas does a pretty dang good job with their population. We have a fraction of that, so we should be able to do it too.
Tim, what's going on at Tom and Gigs? What's happening over there?
Oh man, Josh is just selling bumpers and winches and lights, and we're doing a lot of suspension this month. It seems like it's always after winter, things get beat up. We're still, I guess, in winter technically, but ball joints and tie rods and steering boxes and shocks and you name it with suspension, it gets beat up. Our roads are nice and smooth here. No potholes anywhere. Um, what a joke. But anyway. We do a lot of suspension, and of course we do a lot of neat stuff too, like all the accessories for the 4-wheel drives. We've been doing a lot of Jeeps lift kits lately. We can do from mild to wild. I mean, it's whatever you can dream up, we can do it. And give us a call. And custom exhaust. You got a nice classic car or pickup that's a newer one that maybe it sounds like a Prius, and you don't like that. You want to make it sound a little cooler. We can do that. We can still make it sound like it's got some American muscle. So, and it won't void your warranty, just changing the muffler. We're not messing with emissions. We're trying to, you want to keep legal schmeagle, and most of the cars won't run without that anyway. So, but the muffler itself, you can change, and it will be fine, and it'll sound good. So you get a little best of all worlds. You won't void your warranty. You get a little sound, and it might even run a little better. Intake for your truck. A lot of those are all CARB certified, which means that's California Air Resources Board certified product. So that will also not void your warranty by doing that. So try to stick with stuff that's made right. It fits right. It works right, and you don't have problems, and you'll get a benefit from it. So give us a call on any of that stuff, and come and check out our RC thing with Joe here. He's got a lot of knowledge, and so does Josh, and so does Austin, but Joe's the main guy out there usually doing that. So give us a call and let us know what you want to do, and we can do all kinds of cool stuff with the RC stuff. So give us a call out here, 541-888-4660, and 135 South Showing in Coos Bay. And we'll say just let's go Romero, baby.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys. Good to see you, sir. You guys take care.
You too.
All right.
Talk to
You
you.
too, man.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
One great guy.
So
That's a great guy.
they're a great family,
Yeah.
And it's that type of baseline Oregonian, that's what we grew up with. So I'm just happy that there's still a bunch of it around. So I haven't given up hope. We can pull this back from the brink.
Have you been keeping up with the Elliott Forest? And David Brock Smith, once again, passed a bill, and the number escapes me right now, but it was a bill to turn the Elliott Forest into a research forest where they were going to pretty much eliminate harvesting timber. Eventually, they were going to eliminate a hunting in there. There were a lot of things that were going to be strictly controlled because, once again, this is what David said, that he did this, that he supported this bill and wrote the bill because he wanted the Elliott Forest to go back to local control. But if you look at the board, the board that makes up the Elliott Forest, it's environmental lawyers and Democrats, and very few real people in the timber industry or any other real industry. It's made up of leftists who, they live in Douglas and in Coos County, but people like Melissa Cribbins, I'm sure you're familiar with her. She's the chair of this board, and the governor is on the board. Tobias Reed is on the board. And so his whole bill was another bill like that windmill bill that works to defeat and destroy rural Oregon. What would you do with the Elliott Forest?
Besides that being a highly intelligent, awesome question, very simply, there's this little thing called the Apache County Resolution. And right now, the state of Oregon, about 51% of its land mass is kind of under the control of the federal government. And the deal was that if we didn't develop the resources on that land, that the federal government pays us a federal welfare check every year. But that amount decreases every year, okay? So we get less and less. And we've been using that money for our infrastructure, schools, roads, what have you. And so fundamentally, county commissioners, at least 2 in each county, if they approve to do the Apache County Resolution, they go through the process, they recover their lands back to their control, which it should be. Okay. So then you got to make sure you have good county commissioners, and they're not just going to hook their friends up, right? The good old boy club, as we know about. And literally, they get to do the timber sales and the management, and they have a requirement to make sure that all roads are cleaned up and cleared by the federal government. That's a requirement. If you're going to do it, no problem, but you have to thin the forest along highways so that way, if there's ever fires, it won't stop travel. Anyway, so as we do that, that's at the county level. The best part is those funds you generate from the timber sales and what have you is like it was back in the 70s and 80s. It pays for your schools, your roads, your infrastructure, right? So you don't even really need anything coming from the state anymore. They don't need to keep throwing more taxes on us, claiming they're going to give it back to us in roads and schools, when in fact they do everything else with it. Like, one of the questions I have is, who funds all these little new organizations? Who funds the what's it called? There's like the county, the Association of Oregon Counties.
Yeah, the AOC.
Who funds the Local Government Personnel Institute? These are the guys that supposedly train all our candidates, right? And they go back to what's called ICLEI, and this is kind of important real quick. Now, ICLEI, they call it the Local Governments for Sustainability. However, its original name was ICLEI, and that's International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives. Man, I wish we could do the Thunderdome thing, okay? I'll go into it. I'll deal with whoever this guy is, right? 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Yeah, I'm ready to throw it down with these clowns. This is an international organization that is fundamentally training, teaching, and indoctrinating our elected people to kind of corner them, intimidate them, put a little fear into them. You can't fight us because we're too powerful, whatever it is. And I can't wait to go into that training. Oh, I'm going to have some fun in that training. They're just going to pass me and send me on my way, But my thing is to defund that whole process. It shouldn't exist at all. No indoctrination for sustainability. It's all part of the ice age and the acid rain, the ozone. It's all part of the same garbage. It's a way to steal money from the public, and they're good at it. They've been doing it for a long time, and fighting them is going to get intense. I'm telling you now, it's going to get intense. But it takes every voter: Democrats, Independents, Constitutionalists, Republicans, everybody. To learn about all this and finally understand what's really been going on and how they've been trying to nationalize all our forests and make them national parks and exclude us from their use completely. A lot of this stuff falls under foreign management. China.
Yeah.
How is China is managing our national forests? How is that even possible? Right?
Right.
I'm like, you know what? That's it, guys. Lock and load. It's time to go take care of some business. Okay. Because I'd like to see who those Chinese Communist Party guys are at the National Forest Park, wherever it is, and get them out. Now, when I ran for governor and a couple of years ago, one of my deals was that we have to kick China out. No more of this 100% of our exports going to China. That's putting all our eggs in one basket. There's nothing intelligent about that action. There needs to be competition for our exports. But David Brock Smith and other Democrats and Republicans have supported this. And they think, oh, it's a great thing because we get all our stuff sold. Well, who are they? They're not using all that stuff. They're turning around and selling it. And in many instances, they're selling it back to us at a much higher price. We're not getting discounted chicken. We're not getting discounted lumber, right? So we're being robbed is what we're being, and we have people that are in our elected positions that are complicit. They are effectively helping this along. Now, I was really proud when I saw Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders come out and say, that's it. China is leaving our state. Thing is, boy, her voice was wavering. That woman was scared when she made that announcement.
Yeah.
And I have the utmost respect. That's awesome. I was so proud of her. Right. And fundamentally here in Oregon, that's the kind of governor we need. It's going to boot them out. And people are saying, oh, well, no one's going to buy our exports. That's a lie. That is an absolute lie. There are plenty of countries that need our exports. I've talked to people in Egypt, in Turkey, in Europe, And they're like, yeah, we'd love to get in on Oregon's exports. Well, why isn't our legislature and our governor working on that? It's because they're already in league with the Chinese Communist Party. That's what it boils down to. And for me, what they've done is very much falls under sedition, and it may very well fall under treason, because China is a communist country. They have been attacking our country through cyber warfare for 10 plus years. Okay. There's a reason why Oregon voters' DMV records, they got some of them, a couple million, maybe a million or 1,500 the first time, but the last time they got all of our voting records.
All of them.
And,
they took it all, man.
And our last 4 of our social security number. They actually have the ability to go into the Secretary of State's I vote and change your party affiliation and change your mailing address for your ballot. Okay. And yet, what has our state done about this? What has Tina Kotek, Kate Brown, any of them done about this? What is Ellen Rosenbaum? You know why she's not running for office again? Because she knows the jig is up. Because the feds, I'm telling you now, I don't think they're just investigating Shemia Fagan and Val Hoyle. They're investigating Tina Kotek, Tobias Reed, and Ellen Rosenblum. They better get out while the getting's good is all I can say, because the hammer's about to drop on all of them. I just hope sooner than later.
Yeah, completely. And what really ticks me off, and this goes back to David Brock Smith, is that he sits on the Oregon China Council. And yet in Oregon, there is no other country where we have this type of council. Can anyone please explain why we give such preferential treatment to China? And of course, you and I know the answers to that. And it kind of goes back to ICLEI, the UN, and how they're using those type of pressures to force us to capitulate with the communists.
Yeah. When you start asking questions that, like I said, Dave Brock Smith doesn't want to answer, and he tried to answer them, but there was no good answer really, because any answer would actually convict him. But with the Oregon China Council, one of the things they keep trying to say, well, not all of China is communist. Okay, couple things here, people. If you're a city official anywhere in China, in a city, you are connected and part and parcel of the Chinese Communist Party. If you're a company that operates out of China, you are fully connected to the Chinese Communist Party. You are not allowed to operate without that. If you're a true Chinese dissident in America, China will have nothing to do with you. If you're a Chinese dissident that came to America, became an American, but you're working with China, red flag. My intelligence background and what we look for in people that are kind of part of the spies or operatives, we look for stuff like that. And when you see it, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But people took it hook, line, and sinker, and at some point that's going to go away. But all things in time. I think whenever I see Dave Brock Smith and he's hobnobbing and rubbing shoulders with all these Chinese elements, it cracks me up. I love all the pictures. I mean,
he couldn't have made it any easier for us, could he?
No, he could not. And the best part is we're just speaking the truth, right?
Yeah, right.
That's it. It's just the truth. This isn't a personal thing, but I'll tell you what, if you're a traitor or you're committing sedition, it's personal to me. You dang Skippy it is, because that person needs to be excised out of the body. Period.
So has he accused you? Because I know he's accused me and he's accused several other people that I'm associated with of, one, we're trying to destroy the Republican Party, which is absolutely ridiculous. Even as a non-Republican, a non-affiliated voter, the Republican Party, I think, has every absolute right to exist under the First Amendment, freedom of association. And two, he's saying that we're spreading misinformation. And yet I have asked his allies what that misinformation is. Exactly what is it that I'm saying about him? What you're pretty much repeating a lot what we've said. What is it that's misinformation? And they still have not yet gotten back to me on that one.
What it is exposure. It's kind of like turning the bright lights on when the cockroaches are in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
So that's what it is. They don't like that exposure, and the only thing they're talking like Democrats, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, David Rock Smith needs to change his party affiliation. That'd be the first thing I'd recommend. The next thing is I'd tell him to watch himself, because fundamentally what he's participating in is sedition and could work itself into treason as they dive into who they're connected to. Because here's the thing, the other thing the Chinese do, they leverage you, they compromise you. Video, they bring you to the country, you go check things out, you go to your hotel room, yeah, they're recording everything you do. And in this day and age, yeah, there's AI that can manipulate things. I get that. But there's also legitimate film, and what we're learning is that has been the modus operandi to compromise and corrupt a lot of people in office. So it's like, for myself, man, you're not going to find me by myself with some other woman of any kind. Not even going to take the chance, right? There's always going to be other people with us. Wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, people know where I'm at. We keep track. It's like what Donald Trump has to do, right? If he jaywalks one time, they're probably going to hang him.
Yep.
Yeah. And chances are that jaywalking, there was actually a crosswalk was a jaywalk crosswalk. So again, we're fighting a big monster, but it's cowardly. And when I saw David Rock Smith getting upset about being recorded, that's a sign.
That's a tale. That's a tell. That's a tell right there. And here's the thing. I've known David a long time. He has a couple of DUIs on his record. He's a man who loves, 3. And he loves his alcohol. He really loves his alcohol. In fact, I got friends who are in Salem. I've got friends here in the county who every now and then I'll get a call on the phone. Do you know David Brock Smith is out here and he's sloshed out of his mind? And I've gotten that several times from people. And I don't drink a whole lot anymore. I pretty much gave it up mostly over years ago. But if you're in China and you're a man who has a propensity to get drunk and drink a lot, can you imagine what's happening in those Chinese hotels where they have the bugs, where they have the cameras? And this man, we've already, I think, established he's not too intelligent. He's a drinking man. And can you only imagine what the Chinese have gotten on him? That's my concern. He's all
in for China.
Right.
I mean, that's evident by his actions. Okay. He's all in for China. And now he's starting to realize that he's going to lose this next race. And once that happens, he won't even be able to get dog catcher. Okay.
Right. He's done.
His gravy train is going to come to an end. And the thing about the Chinese is that they only expose you when they absolutely have to. Okay. So once he goes and fades off into the hedges, like Homer Simpson, they're going to be done with him. That's how it's going to be. The next step is going to be really to find out who else in our legislature is tied in with China like that and go after them as well. I have friends in the Department of the Interior, Cyber Terrorism Unit, and I talk with them all the time. I bring things to their attention. Now, they don't get to tell me what actions they take from that, but I provide them whatever I run into. Here's absolute evidence. Here's absolute truth. Here's absolute video, whatever. And then they go, wow, okay. And then I just wait, see what I see on the news like everybody else now. But they say if you see something, say something, right? Well, all I can say to Oregon is this: you start seeing busloads of Chinese that are coming from our border showing up here into Portland, Eugene, and Salem, you better be saying something. And if they're showing out to the ranches and farms that are owned by the Chinese, you better be saying something. We need to start talking to each other, because we can't let this. It's been bad enough that the cartels have moved into Oregon. Okay.
Yeah. That the sheriff was just at a meeting talking about how if you don't think the cartels are here, you're completely naive, because they're here in Oregon, they're here in Coos County. I've heard rumor, and I haven't established this yet, but there was a Chinese grow camp growing marijuana in Brookings, and they were forcing Chinese people as laborers. And Camas Valley, and this is a fact because I watched the meetings on this, Camas Valley, they had a cartel in a very religious small community, and they were terrified of them. And I think they got them out by the fact that they were using water and didn't have the permits to use the water. So this is how they got them out, instead of actually going up there and kicking ass, because the law enforcement here, we don't have a lot of them, and they're a little intimidated by these well-funded, well-armed, ready to go people. They're desperate. They're going to do desperate things.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if we had a militia in accordance with the Oregon state constitution, you know,
Yep.
then the sheriffs of each county, if they needed, say, 2,000 guys at the drop of a
Yep.
hat, heck, you wouldn't even have to pay us. We would happily show up and back up the sheriff and do whatever needs to be done, right?
Yep.
That's the reality. But it's
And
not
that's
being
against
done.
the law now. That's
Oh.
against the law, because you can't even go out with 3 of your buddies or 2 of your buddies, because that would make 3, and train as like a militia, as in, you know, using tactical gear, making maneuvers. That's against the law.
It violates our constitution and our
Yep.
state constitution.
You're
So
damn right.
I'll fight that fight any day of the week. You know, they have no legs to stand on in that regard. But the thing is like, you know, the sheriffs had this big sheriffs meeting in DC, and they were talking about, they've had more red flags all over the place in the intel industry regarding attacks here in America, right? And we need to be on the alert here. And the problem is, every sheriff in this state, when they got back from that meeting, should have been having a press conference and alerting their county.
Yeah.
How many Oregon sheriffs did that? How many of them? Who are they
0.
freaking working for? Okay. You know, we got a problem here in Douglas County. Sheriff Hanlon, right? Basically, he was planning to retire. And he's got an undersheriff that apparently is a Democrat from California. And the plan was to not run, and that other guy was going to run. Well, I'm like, wait a minute. That ain't going to work for Douglas County. So we need to find us a candidate. So we found a candidate. Candidate was going to run, no problem, good guy. And then basically, Sheriff Hanlon changed his mind. He decided, well, you know what, I'm going to run again. I'm going to stay doing this. So he's going to stay. He's going to run. But if he at any point resigns or retires during his tenure, he gets this undersheriff takes over anyway.
Right.
This is what they did in our Supreme Court here in Oregon. We used to have to elect our Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But what they do is they retire in between so that the governor gets to assign and appoint a new Supreme Court justice. This is why they're all Democrats. All our Supreme Court justices are Democrats. You want to know why they violated our constitutional rights in regard to our elected officials? The people they've taken away our right to choose our own candidates, is what our Supreme Court just did. This is why, because they're stacking the deck. And so these races right now are really important to raise holy. You know what? We have to be disruptors. We have to expose and put light on everything. And then that governor's race in 2026, we have got to win that. Period. You want to survive Oregon? Because if a Republican, a legitimate Republican, is not in office as governor in 2026, I'm leaving. China's taken over. Democrats have taken over. The socialist Democrats have taken over. It's going to be bad, you know?
Let me ask you, you may want to not answer this question, but you eventually had to get out of the governor's race. Things didn't go well for you in the Constitution Party. And so you at the end had to make a decision of who to vote for governor. Who, you know, and you don't have to answer this because it's secret ballot, but who did you end up supporting or voting for at the end?
I ended up voting for Drazen. She's the only choice and definitely not the best choice. I mean, when I first entered that race, okay, I was a Republican at the time, and I entered the race a year early, okay, a whole year early. And the goal was to flush out all the people who are going to run for governor, okay, because I wanted us all to debate. I wanted us to come up there and say, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And that's what happened. And in those debates, I don't know if you saw any of the ones I was in, man, I ran circles around a lot of these guys. I was winning this stuff left and right. And the only person I didn't get to debate was Christine Drazen, because she didn't enter till a whole year later, right? She waited till the last possible minute to even announce. Nobody even suspected till all of a sudden she popped in. So never got to debate her, but boy, I would have loved to. And, you know, again, we're back to who's actually representing the Republican platform, who's actually able to relate to the population at large. And so then what I figured out coming into the end of that first year was that basically the controlled opposition was going to make sure no matter what, I was not going to be the guy. And I figured that out. So I had a backup plan. The backup plan was to go to the Constitution Party, talk to them. They were all gung-ho. They were all excited, except they actually weren't. This is more controlled opposition. Most people don't know that the Constitution Party of Oregon is not connected to the National Constitution Party at all. Okay? They have kind of gone a authoritarian, almost Marxist way, the leadership of that.
Yeah.
And that got exposed through this process. I won cases I had with the Secretary of State in regards to that. But it's too little too late, and the good news is the Constitution Party of Oregon, there's an element that's working there. I don't want to give away anything what they're doing exactly, but it's all legal. But the goal is to actually have a legitimate Constitution Party here in Oregon, because most of the people that are members are not actually being represented or allowed to even vote. It's kind of like an issue they have with the Independent Party of Oregon, right? How many Democrats do they keep supporting going into office? And then independents are going, wait a minute, we don't support this. This isn't where we're from. But the same guy's been running the Independent Party, Sal. I can't remember his last name. Do you remember his last name?
No,
Sal.
but you're right. It's just like you said, controlled opposition for the Democrats. Yes. Right. Yeah, totally.
Totally. So I made the most out of the situation and basically realized that, the Constitution Party, as corrupt as the top leadership was, and what they did, they were allowing people to vote in two different primaries in the same year, Republican and Constitution Party. You can't do that. These people are actually guilty of that. We turned all this stuff into the feds, FBI. We'll never hear if they did anything. But when you have the evidence, you have the truth, and you present it, you have to hope that the powers that be will do the right thing. And now, as we all know, do we really trust the CIA? Do we really trust the FBI?
Right.
I can't
say
yes anymore.
It's sad. It's sad, though. That's really, what I mean? These were agencies that even under Hoover, the FBI was still better than it is today. And, Hoover had a blacklist on a lot of people. He had a lot of dirt on a lot of people, kept the Kennedys under check for a while, which in many ways was really bad. And so, yeah, these are people we're supposed to be able to trust. And I wouldn't trust an FBI agent if it came knocking on my door right now. I wouldn't trust any of them from any of those federal bureaucracies. And it's sad.
I had a number of FBI agents that were mentors for me when I was growing up. And I was actually planning on going to the FBI. But once Obama got in office, I was like, not happening. So I stepped away. There's still good people in the FBI. There's still good people in the CIA. But the powers that be, the controlling element, that obviously has been corrupted. And I'm looking at a big part of the FBI as literally being elements of the CIA, because taking a CIA agent and putting him into the FBI is not beneath the CIA to do.
Right. Right.
Okay. And I think we saw that in the January 6th event. Over 200 FBI assets, and many of them were inside before they even opened the doors. Okay. So the whole J6 thing is so fraudulent, so ridiculous. To be honest, every single person they have taken into custody, every one of them should be released immediately, period. That's what should happen. Every governor in the country should be demanding all of their releases.
David Medina, do you know David Medina?
Yes.
Okay. He just got arrested by the FBI. They just hauled him off I believe they've taken him off to DC. Our own commissioner here, Rod Taylor, was at January 6th. He did go back in the building, but the reason he went back into the building is that he saw someone stealing a painting, and he got the painting from him and took it back into the building and gave it back to one of the officers. So we're still worried, and we're still waiting that they're going to come out and pick him up.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I can't believe elements within the CIA and the FBI have gotten this stupid. They're usually looking for pretty high IQ, educated type people, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe that's not a requirement anymore. They want to know
Yeah.
how well you can be compromised, right?
Yes.
It's become a real problem. And for Americans in general, we don't know what to do. Most American voters, they just don't know what they can do. And all I can say to them is this: there's plenty you can do. You can run for office. You can step up to the plate, you know.
Yep.
And for me, I help other candidates out all the time. I shorten their learning curve. Believe me, there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Something else I've been doing, I got to share this with you, Rob. You won't believe it. You've heard of the SEIU, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this union that predominantly supports Democrats as far as funding, they have this little thing called a walk-a-day. Okay. And it's kind of a prerequisite. You have to go through the walk-a-day, answer a few other questions and stuff, and then they will consider you as a person they would actually contribute to. And the funds they use for that do not come from dues of their membership, apparently. That's what I'm being told. And it's something I'm actually working on right now, because what I see is I see the Democrats that have gone on these walk-a-days, but they do not address the issues that these SEIU people are having. For example, not being paid on time, being paid late. Whoever's doing their accounting sucks, right?
Yeah.
So and that's something that's a simple fix, for crying out loud. If your accounting people aren't doing the job right, guess what you do? You get different accounting people, right? So there's a fix, but obviously the powers that be must be getting something back from that. There's always a kickback. The question is, can you find it, right? I mean, Hunter Biden, we're finding all kinds of ways that President Biden and Hunter Biden got paid, and his brother and everybody else. That is truth. That's not opinion. It's just a hard, cold truth. And we have to expose people for that stuff. And we need to make them fearful that they're going to be exposed, right? So when I get into the Senate, I'm telling you now, it's not just going to be me doing the detective work. Oh, no. It's going to be everybody. I'm going to get the entire state of Oregon pouring stuff into my inbox with photographs and video and receipts and everything that they can cough up on these people. I'm challenging Oregonians, because I know people know the truth. I'm challenging
And people know
Oregonians.
some of their secrets. That's the thing. A lot of people know their secrets, and they don't know who to take those secrets to.
Right. Well, I'm that guy. I'll let the target be on my back. That's not a problem. And if they ever show up to my house, well, they won't regret it very long.
Oh no, you just got on another list. You do know that. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure of that. Well, here's the best part. I have a security clearance, a top secret SCI security clearance, and a part of my duties, I actually talk directly with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and on occasion, you have to be a president. And for who I was in the Navy, there's people who say, well, if he was all that in the Navy, why is he doing this over here? Well, just an average everyday American. We all do amazing things, but doesn't mean that's where we get stuck at, right? And I like people. I actually enjoy people. I got a high IQ. I got a lot of education, and I like people. I'm social, and I think these are the qualities we need in our candidates, and they had to be a fighter, especially now. Especially right now. There's going to be easier times in the future that they won't require fighters to do it, but right now, that's what's required. So fundamentally, I don't begrudge any of the other candidates. Matter of fact, if anything, I'm proud that there's more than one candidate running against DBS.
Before you go any further on that, Ashley Hicks is a normal. She normally watches the show. I'm surprised she's not on right now. And I really like Ashley. She did a lot of work in Roseburg, discovering a lot of shady things that were going on when she was on the city council. I really like Todd Vaughn. And to be quite honest with you, I think all three of you are excellent candidates. And there's one dirtbag, and I'll use name calling, because anyone who gets me kicked off the radio and then lies about it, I think I have a right to call him a dirtbag. And so this is the thing. If we can, I don't care who wins out of all three of you, I want him to lose. And I think no matter which one of you wins, we've got a better representative the day after you win than we did the day before.
I'd have to agree. And like I said, Todd Vaughn, great guy, good guy. His heart's in the right place. he's an Oregonian to the core. He's got a good understanding of the timber industry, and to be quite honest, I got plans to utilize that knowledge base. But it's a matter of the full, most effective ability to communicate and relate to the entire voting base. That is a real key thing. And for Ashley, I know she's a nice lady. I haven't met anybody had anything negative to say about her, and that speaks volumes in itself. So, and same thing with Todd. Like you said, thank God we have more than one candidate. But something that really disappointed me was that half of the Douglas County Central Committee were trying to do a commitment where they were going to commit themselves to vote and only support the incumbent before the primary.
Yeah.
That disgusts me. The whole point of a primary is to weigh and measure your existing incumbent and new potential candidates, and to figure out what's going to be the best fit for what's going on right now. And they literally eliminated that right out of the chute. And there's good people that are part of that group that did this. And I've been trying to convince them, dude, you need to correct yourself on this. You are wrong. I can show you 100 ways you're wrong. And I did that. And it's like, well, I pledged it. I'm like, that doesn't mean squat. Okay. What matters is doing the right thing. And part of that is having candidates. And we have a primary for a reason. Don't negate it. Don't do you're literally doing what the Democrats do.
Yeah.
Right. So stop doing that unless you want to join the Democrat Party. Right. I think that'd be a fair exit strategy.
And yeah, I think it would be beautiful. It would fit him appropriately. So we've been on here for quite a while. It's nice not having commercials, isn't it?
Oh, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's great, and we can cuss, and I don't have to worry about anything I say or hurt anyone's feelings. Yeah, And so I'm gonna get you off of here because I think you've done a great job. You've answered all my questions, and I hope the best for you. But before I get you out of here, I want you, if you've got a last word that you would like to tell my listeners, go for it.
My name is Paul Romero. I'm running for Senate District 1. And one thing about all us Oregonians and Americans in general is this: when things are at their worst, we are at our best. And right now, things are as close to the worst that we're going to get, but we got to fight for it. So whether you're young, old, it doesn't matter. I don't care your party. I really don't care. None of that matters, because what we're fighting for is what affects all of us. And so it is imperative that everybody get out there and vote. Every person. If you're 18, make sure you're registered, vote. If you're not registered Republican for this primary, it's important enough for you to do so. Consider that option. And I bet a number of young people are doing that. So please get out there and vote. Step up, do what you can do. If you can't run for office, you still can vote. So this is America, and we swore an oath against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I know a lot of guys that died for that, and I'll be darned if I'm not going to step up to the plate and help this country. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to answering any and all questions that come down the pike.
Thank you, Paul, and we'll get you back on before the election is up, okay?
Great, and RomeroforOregon.com, and make sure you take a look at my contract with Oregonians on the resource page. That'll spell out a number of things I'm going to be doing day one when I get into the Senate seat, because believe you me, when they see me coming, they're going to go running.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be beautiful. I think it would be a complete contrast to David Brock Smith, and I'd love to see it. I really would. So you take care, man. Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot, and congratulations on recovery, because when you have an element of the machine working against you, it sucks, and it's an uphill battle when it shouldn't be. But the good news is this: he who laughs last laughs best. And I'm going to bet that's going to be you. So
thanks, man. You take care. Right. Okay.
You too.
Oops. Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off that short. Yeah. You too, man. Sorry. All right. All right. That was a great interview. I really enjoyed that. And I hope the best for all the candidates out there. Like I said, we got to get rid of these establishment Republicans. We've got to get rid of them because they are worse. They're actually worse than the Democrats because the Democrats, you know what they are. They're communists. Democrats are communists, and their goal is to destroy our way of life, to destroy the American Constitution, to destroy religion, culture, everything that we hold dear. They're looking to destroy. They want to eliminate private property. Everything that Romero was talking about, especially ICLEI. And if you don't know who ICLEI is, part of the United Nations organizations are the ones who are responsible for these so-called smart cities, where you won't own a car, you really won't own anything, and I guarantee you won't be happy. It's one of those 15-minute cities where you'll only be able to travel within the city, and eventually, if you want to travel outside the city, you're going to have a national passport to do that. This is kind of what they have in China. It's sad where we're going, and that's why I think so many of our officials, they like that because they like the authority that the Chinese government has over its people. And there are a couple of things I want to get to before I get out of here. There's normally I talk about the Republican meeting. The Republicans have a meeting, but once again, I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing or not, but on February 22nd, they're having their meeting at the Coast Life Church at 190 East D Street in Coos Bay. And this happens at 6 o'clock this Thursday, February 22nd. And two of the three candidates for the National Committee woman will be attending, giving a rundown what happens or what is happening in the ORP and presenting their bids to be elected to the position for the next election cycle. And that information is going to be out at the meeting. But here's the thing. Rod Schilling, who needs to be replaced in the Republican Party, he has lost all credibility. He has put a cadre on the next meeting. It says, due to the childish antics portrayed at our last meeting, which was in a public setting, we have moved our monthly CCR-CC meeting back to a private setting, and that's the Coast of Life Church that I just mentioned. Due to the internal nature of this month's discussions, only PCPs will be allowed to attend. Anyone else that shows up will be on a per person basis at the discretion of the chair. Of course, that's Heil Hitler, Rod Schilling there. And filming of our private meeting will not be allowed, and anyone caught doing so will be permanently trespassed from our meeting. So, I understand if a party has to have a private meeting and they do only have a monthly meeting, and I can understand if they're going to do this on a one-time basis. If they're doing it for one time and the next meetings, they open that back up to the public the way it should be, I'm not going to complain about that. That's not going to be too big of a deal. But if this is going to be their policy from going on here, going out to their next meetings, I'm going to raise a fuss about it. And I'm registering as a Republican once again, not because I'm a big fan of the Republican Party. It's because I want to be able to vote in the primary that I pay for. As a taxpayer, I pay for that primary. And so I'm a little ticked off at the leadership, and not for this reason here that they have closed off this party to PCPs only. And if you don't know what a PCP is, that's a precinct committee person, and they're the ones who make up the board and will vote on who is and who isn't in office. They'll get to vote on if, say, there's a senator or representative that steps down, just what happened recently with Dallas Hurd and David Brock Smith. They get to choose the next person who goes before the commissioners, or the next 3 or 4 people who go before the commissioners, and the commissioners then get to decide which is an extension from what the PCPs decided. So if that happens, and this meeting is just a one-time thing where they're going to keep it closed because the party has some private information they want to discuss with the PCPs, I have no problem with it. But if it's something that, it's going to be on a regular basis, I do have a problem with that. And I think all of you who are in the Republican Party, especially PCPs who are going to be at this meeting, if this is going to be a continuation, You need to complain about that. You seriously need to complain about that. The Coos County, they're having a meeting, and let's see. Let's see if I can do this. I was going to give a call out to one of our commissioners and see if he wanted to come on. He was traveling right now, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So, I'm trying to get a hold of him right now. He was on the phone. Let's see. I'll send him the. Nope, that isn't going to work. But it's Rod Taylor. He wants to talk about some of the things that are on the agenda tomorrow, and I wanted to give him a shot to be able to do that. And of course, that's something that I think is of an interest to all of us. Definitely of interest to all of us. He was traveling. He didn't know whether or not he was going to be able to get into the podcast or not. But so I'm giving him a shout out right now, telling him that we are ready to go. And I sent him the link to the show. So we'll see if he pops in right now. But one of the things that is happening tomorrow at 9:30 at the county commissioners meeting is that they're going to be discussing a couple of late item agendas that I think you should definitely be concerned with, because these are questions that they're going to be putting on the ballot. Now, I don't know if you know or not, but the county and cities as well can put advisory questions on the ballot so they can find out legitimately what people are thinking and what people really believe. It's better than a poll, because you can go out and take a poll of the populace, but the fact is that those polls can be really highly, subjective, because if the pollsters aren't honest and trustworthy, then you don't really know if you're going to get an honest and trustworthy response when they show you the poll numbers. But if you go out and put an advisory question, and this is what the commissioners want to do, they want to put an advisory question on the ballot for May to ask you and me what we think. And here are some of the questions that they are going to do. Let's see. They're going to ask if you guys want to do the offshore wind energy project that is being done by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. I personally think that would be an absolute no. And I think most of you would not only say no, but you would say, hell no, you don't want these offshore wind energy projects being off the coast of Southern Oregon. And we're also trying to get Curry County to put that same question on their ballot as well. If they could put it on their ballot, that would prove a whole heck of a lot. Now, why this is important, this BOEM offshore wind energy project question that they want to put on the ballot, why that is important is because I don't know if you remember this or not, but, and I forget where they got this money from, but $2.5 million went to OSU, to their psychology department nonetheless, to run a poll or a survey here in Southern Oregon to find out what people wanted with this energy project. And I don't know if you trust the OSU liberals up there, and especially people in the psychology department, but I don't. I don't trust these people, so I'm certainly not going to think that any survey that comes out of the OSU psychology department is really of any validity. So this is what they're doing at the commissioner level. They're trying to counter that survey that we know will probably be unfavorable to those of us who don't want the windmills, and they're trying to counter it with an actual question on the ballot. And I think this is a great idea. And if Rod gets in here, we're going to ask him more about this. One of the other late agenda items that's happening tomorrow. It's once again, it's section 5. Paragraph B is the election reforms. Do you want election reforms? And probably what that will have to deal with, and I didn't read further into it because I just got this today, was if you want to see paper ballots to come out instead of voting by mail, instead of having this week-long, which turns into a month-long election. Remember when we used to have election day? We used to have election day in this country, and now we have election month. And in some places, it's like election 3 months. You got 3 months to have this election, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. So that's the second question that they've got going on. And let's see. Oh, I think I got. That's weird. I thought I've got. Oh no, Sully. No, we're not. We're not with Paul still. Sorry, I was getting a message. I thought it might have been Rod, but that's the second question in Section 5 that they're going to be trying to put on the ballot is election reforms, and I think that's a great idea. The third question that they're going to try to do is changing the clerk to be an appointed position. So what they're going to do is instead of having us vote for the clerk, they're asking you, would you rather have that person appointed by the commissioners? I don't care if this question goes on the ballot because it's going to fail. I don't think anyone in their right mind would give up their voting right. And if the commissioners want to put this on the ballot, I think it has validity because people are going to shoot it down and it's going to be a resounding no from most of us. So this changing to appointed clerk, having the commission itself appoint the clerk, I think that's a bad idea. In fact, I think it's an idea that is just going to, well, not resonate with most people. And so I once again, I think this should be on the ballot if they want to put it on the ballot. I just think it's going to fail. And the third one is school choice funding. Should Coos County allow some type of school choice funding? I don't know how this would work. Once again, I didn't get a chance to read into the bill, but I think that it would be something that would probably benefit a lot of people because there's a lot of people out there who they just can't afford private schools, or I think charter schools would be a better way to go because it would put competition on the private schools, and then the private schools would have to do a little bit of a better job. I don't know if they can do that on a county level, but all of that's happening tomorrow at 9:30 in the Owen building, and the Owen building is on Adams Street. So I definitely recommend that. It's let's see if I can get that. Let's see. There you go. And there it is. BOC meeting at the Owen building tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. And that's going to be important. If you want to know what's going on in your government, I would highly recommend that you go to some of these meetings, because if you don't, then you don't know what the heck is happening. Let's see. Then there's going to be another meeting tomorrow, but not with the Board of Commissioners. It's going to be the City Council of Coos Bay. And let's see. There was a couple of things on here I think that would behoove you to go and find out about. Oh, yes. In Section 3, Special Orders of Business, 3D, Coos County Public Safety Levy Presentation. If you don't know what they're trying to do with the county, they're trying to put another levy on the ballot. And they will be explaining what the levy does and doesn't do for the county. And that's happening tomorrow, 6 o'clock, in the council chambers of Coos Bay, 500 Central Avenue. You all know where the city hall is in Coos Bay. You got to know. And so I would recommend you go check it out over there. Let's see. Was there anything else that was... there's a code enforcement issues that they're having at 1088 New Bark. I think that's old Gussie's building. I think that's that bar that's across from 7-Eleven. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And I don't know what issues they're having. I know that Matt Wilbanks has had to chase a lot of homeless people off of that property, and he's done an excellent job of that. But that would be my biggest guess, is that's what they're going to be discussing at the Coos Bay City Council. But it's good. Once again, if you live in Coos Bay, go to your damn council meeting and find out what these people are doing, because months down the road, just like this move of the Devereaux Center, people go, well, we didn't know about it. Well, did you go to any of the meetings? Well, no, but we didn't know about it. Well, maybe if you went to some of the meetings, you would know about it. And so also, besides tomorrow's meeting for the the Coos Bay City Council at 6 o'clock, don't forget you got the commissioners meeting at 9 o'clock. But get this, do you remember when the county was discussing having the enforcement of the setbacks, the the term is escaping me. The fence setbacks, where they used to only be 7 feet. Now there's sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 feet setbacks on some of those grounds. And there was a huge to-do at the Oaks Pavilion about these setbacks and these easements. That's the word I was looking for. The easements that the county is now enforcing and the permits that they're now enforcing. They're enforcing, I think it's $150 to replace your fence or $150 to clean out the ditch in front of your property. Yeah, what a privilege. You get to pay $150 and clean out a ditch. But there's another meeting happening on Thursday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. on structures in the right-of-way, Oaks Pavilion at the fairgrounds. This is at the fairgrounds, Oaks Pavilion. If you don't know what the Oaks Pavilion is, it's where they usually have all the arts and crafts stuff during the fair. I know I like to go up there and be an art critic for a day. And it's so this is happening at 6:30 Thursday, February 22nd. So if you're a property owner in the county and you're worried about these easements, you got to get to that meeting. On Wednesday, the day before that, on February 21st at 1:30 p.m., weird time during the day, but at 1:30 p.m., the Homeless Advisory Committee, which was created by House Bill 4123. You know who voted for House Bill 4123? David Brock Smith. Yeah, he helped create this homeless industrial complex. You know why? Because he's buddies with Tara Reed Johnson over at the Devereaux Center. They're buddies, and I know that because I've had both of them on my show. But he voted for House Bill 4123, and he also voted for House Bill 5019, which gave the $220 million to the governor's homeless committee response team, which then doles that money out to the rest of the counties who create this advisory committee. And so that's what's going on with that. And if you haven't seen my I had a special edition of the Rob Taylor Report on YouTube and Rumble, and go to those channels. Let's see if I got the banner for those channels. Yeah, right there. YouTube at Rob Taylor Report, Rumble at Rob Taylor Report. Go check out my channels. There are a couple of shows that I didn't have on a weekly basis. I had them during the week. I'm going to start doing that more often. So I highly recommend that you go to YouTube or Rumble and you subscribe to my channels. Maybe you should prescribe to my channels, because it's very addictive. So it's like a drug, and you may have to get a doctor's prescription for it. So subscribe to my channels, and you'll get notices on when I do these special editions of the Rob Taylor Report. And it's something that I'm going to start doing more often. In fact, this morning at 6:30, first thing in the morning, I got to do an interview with Sheriff Mark Lamb, America's sheriff. He's the one who's in Pinal County down in Arizona. And I got a special interview with him, and it was excellent. The guy is incredible, and I'll be putting that up on Rumble and YouTube as well. But you can even go for the meeting, or the show that I had on the meetings for North Bend. I had Base and Tackle Rob on here, and better known as Doug Washington. And I had Adam Palmer on here, who's passing around that petition to stop the Devereaux Center from getting that money. That grant money that was David Brock Smith voted for in HB 4123, the Homeless Advisory Committee that was created by the county. See, all these people, they're all culpable in this homeless industrial complex. And it's very complicated if you don't know the whole story. But you can go to Rumble or YouTube and look at that show I did on the Devereaux Center, the petition for the Devereaux Center, or against the Devereaux Center, I should say, and find out what's going on with that. My show is sponsored by a lot of different people, which I'm very thankful for. And, we just played another game of Where's 3H Treat Service. And there they are, the logo right there. I highly recommend these guys. 3H Tree Service, they do an excellent job. They're professionals. They go in there to your property, and with surgical precision, they take out your trees. And not only that, every week here we try to play another game of where's 3H Tree Service. And I want to thank Matt Holman and his entire family for having this business that's a big supporters of mine. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it in the community. There's a lot of my supporters out there, and you don't know how much it helps when you're someone who's a renegade like me, someone who dares to speak his mind. It's nice to have other like-minded people who support you. And so 3H Tree Service, they're the only tree service in Coos County that has an arborist license from the Oregon Landscape Contractors Board. 3H Tree Service strives to stay current in the industry standards to provide better service to their clients. And you can catch them at that phone number right there, 541-294-1800, because they can do the job if you need that tree taken out. And another person that supports me, we just had him on the show, is Tim from Tom and Gigs. For your automotive needs and for your remote control car needs. If you've got a remote control car and you need any part for those remote control cars, they probably have them at Tom and Gigs, or you can buy a brand new car because they got some badass stuff over there. I'd highly recommend going over to Tom and Gigs. If you need a new muffler, a tonneau cover, I think they can do a great job on that. I know they can. And of course, I've always been supported by Oregon Firearms Federation. They've been with me since the beginning of my show on the radio, and they're still with me now that I do a podcast. In fact, all of those people I've just shown you, 3H Tree Service, Tim from Tom and Gigs, and Kevin Sterrett from Oregon Firearms Federation, they've been supporting me for many, many years. And it's just great that you have this type of support and that type of loyalty. I don't know if you know this or not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But Bandon has its own gun club. Let me see if you can see there, the Bandon Gun Club. And you can find out about Bandon Gun Club at bandongunclub.org. It's a really cool place to go and practice shooting your firearms, pistols. They don't have a rifle range out there, but that's okay. If you like trap shooting, they have got what it's called a 5-stand trap shoot. And it's nice because it's covered. If it's raining, it's got a cover over it. And you can hit trap from 5 different positions. It's really cool. I will be out there quite a bit. I've been meaning to get out there. I was out there this last Saturday. On Saturdays, they have a lunch at noon. I forget how much of a donation you have to give to get the lunch, but we had burgers, we had chips, we had soda, and then we went back to shooting those trap because those trap are dangerous. You don't know when they're going to attack you, so you got to keep an eye on stuff like that. And that's kind of what we do out there. So the Bandon Gun Club, and if you want to reach those guys at the Bandon Gun Club, go to bandongunclub.org, and they can help you out with your trap needs and trap information, how to become a member, all that good stuff there. Let's see, I've got several comments in the comments section. Let's see, let's go back a little bit. Thursday in Myrtle Point at 6:30, I think, is a meeting on the county road department trying to claim their right-of-way for no good reason that I can tell you. Do you know the time and day? Oh yeah, I just gave you the time and day. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening on Thursday, February 22nd, Mr. Oregon Outlaw. And I will be there. I'm going to work very hard to be there. And that's once again at the Oaks Pavilion at the fairgrounds. And that's at 6:30. Last time they said it was 6:30. But yet the notice they sent out said 6. So a lot of us showed up 30 minutes early. So they already ticked us off when we got there. But that just happens. Let's see. I don't know what Christine's talking about. Tough guy Rob ignores his audience. Okay. I don't know how I ignore your audience. I've been doing the show for the last 2.5 hours. How did I ignore you guys? I don't know. Yes, paper ballots for sure. Yes, yes, we can do that. Let's see. Thank you, Rob, for all you do. Well, you're very much welcome, Oregon Outlaw. And Todd Vaughn at 6:30, I believe, Friday. Yes. Thank you, Oregon Outdoor. Yeah, let's see. I've got the slide of that as well. That was something I wanted to put up because we are having an event for Todd Vaughn. Todd Vaughn is going to be here on Friday, and we are going to have a little event that's happening. Let's see if I can get that up. There we go. That's happening this Friday at the Oaks Pavilion. So you get to go to the Oaks Pavilion on Thursday to talk about those new easement laws, where the county is really, I think, making a big mistake with trying to enforce these easement laws. But then on Friday, you can go to this event. This is the Todd Vaughn event. And let me get rid of that comment right there. Let's see. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Let's hide that. There you go. Now you can see the whole thing. And this starts at 6:30 and goes till 8 p.m. Todd Vaughn is going to be there. I'm going to be there hosting the event. It should be a good time. I highly recommend that you folks get out there because, like I said, I think we got 3 really good candidates in Senate District 1. We've got one dirtbag Republican who, he needs to go. Yep, he just needs to go. And, we will work on getting him out of there. And I don't care which other 3 candidates win. David Brock Smith needs to go. So show up on Friday. It should be a good time. We're going to be playing music. We're going to be having hors d'oeuvres. It's a no-host bar, so you can have a few drinks, and it should be a pretty good time. And I think Todd Vaughn is a really good guy. He's one of those who I think he's very much similar to Paul Romero in the sense that he knows that with the majority of the people in the House and the Senate they are Democrats, he's going to have to throw a lot of firebombs as a Republican. There's really not much you can do because the Democrats will only let out of the House and let out of the Senate what they want out. And so you really got to be a disruptor. And if that means, challenging some of the people in your own party, well, then so be it. That's what you got to do. You got to challenge those people. And I think Todd Vaughn he's a stand-up guy. And I really like his sign, the logger there with the axe. He's going to chop China out of Senate District 1. He's going to chop corruption out of Senate District 1. And so come out Friday. Definitely come out Friday and check it out. It should be a good time. Like I said, I'll be there. There'll be a lot of different people who are going to be showing up that I've already talked to about this. And we can, you can ask him questions, anything that you would like to ask him. And, I appreciate all of you who tune in every week. It's a good time. I have a really good time. And, I'm going to continue this on. I will get that Sheriff Lamb video out soon. Wednesday, I've got another interview that we'll be putting out. I'm going to redo the Dr. Bob Zybach interview that I did because there was so much echo on the show during the show that you really can't hear Dr. Bob Zybach's answers. And so we're going to redo that interview. The guy is really cool and he wants to redo it. And so that's what's going to happen. Why? Because I want you to be as informed as you can be. You can't make the right decisions unless you're informed. And hey, looky there. Oh my gosh. Just in time. I was about ready to get out of here. And it's Rod Taylor. Hey, Rod, how you doing, man?
Hey, Rob Bravo. I'm doing great. How's my audio right now?
Your audio is pretty good for a cell phone. Not bad.
Okay, good. Well, we're parked on 42 just outside of Camas Valley on our way home from the weekend. And I just saw your text message, and we had enough cell signal to go ahead and stop, so we stopped.
Cool. So you've got a couple of late agenda items. I kind of went over it, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't really read into it what they all did. Could you go over that for my audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea here is we're going to have a vote tomorrow on these 4 late agenda items that I added. And what we need is a majority vote on the Board of Commissioners in order to put these advisory questions on the May ballot. So if we get a yes vote on any of these or all of these tomorrow, I should say the ones that we do get a yes vote on, those items will be authorized to be placed on the May primary ballot as advisory questions. They don't have any meat, they don't have any teeth. All they do is gauge public sentiment on the questions that are posed. The four topics are: number one, do you want Coos County to oppose the installation of an offshore wind farm off our coast? Number two, do you want Coos County to pursue avenues to try to effect election reform that would be voting in person with identification on one day on paper ballots and counted by hand? The third provision or question is, do you think that the Coos County commissioners should pursue whether we can establish the county clerk as an appointed position, appointed by the commissioners rather than elected, in order to increase the direct accountability of that position? And the fourth question is, do you think that it would be a good thing for Coos County to pursue ways to adopt educational choice through the mechanism commonly known as money follows the child? So you pay your taxes to the public schools, you want to send your child to a private Christian or some other kind of school, you get a voucher to help pay for that. So those are the four questions, and these are merely ideas that I have seen and heard from people about as being really important to what these people think. And so let's put it out there as a vote to the people and see what the public has to say about this.
Now, how much is this going to cost the county?
It doesn't cost anything.
Well, that's good.
I mean, you know, there's going to be a little bit of time in the clerk's office, you know, putting those measures in on the ballots, you know, maybe a couple of hours or a few hours of work. So, you know, maybe it costs the county $500 to put these questions out, but it doesn't add anything. I mean, the ballots are going out anyway, so it really doesn't make any difference.
And these are questions, like you said, they're advisory questions. They don't hold any authority when they're voted on. But right. I think it's a great idea, because what you're doing is you're using your ability to not have to spend any money, but yet get an idea of what the people really think, because I don't think there's any better way than going and getting an official vote. And I was just talking about that $2.5 million that went to OSU's psychology department to study or do a survey on whether people wanted to do that offshore. So this would kind of counter that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it sure would. I mean, I don't know why you would need to spend all that money when you've got a primary ballot that's going out anyway. This doesn't cost anything, you know. Right. It's real easy. So, you know, and I think I have an idea on that particular one. I think I have an idea how the vote will go. I think that the yes votes will prevail, but I don't know that. You know, it's not about what I think, Rob, or what you think. It's about what the majority of the people in our county think about these issues, and that one is significant. Now, I've had an interesting thing happen that I really didn't expect. Starting this morning, my phone started blowing up with emails. And when I say blowing up, I mean blowing up. It's been unbelievable. I think I'm up over 50 emails now. And the interesting thing is that all of those emails, with one exception, were all opposed to all four measures or all four questions, even being put on the ballot. And so that was one interesting thing. The second interesting thing is that among all these 50 emails, there's basically about 3 verbiage sets that it was every email was one of 3 verbiage sets. So this is a big copy and paste campaign. Probably somebody in the Democrat Party or in one of the union leadership positions ran across our agenda and sent out the mass email, through their network to get them to email the commissioners. And the thing that I find really fascinating is that all of these people are saying, no, don't put those things on the ballot. Don't put those questions on the ballot. I thought that those were the people who were all about democracy. What?
Yeah.
If you're interested in democracy, why wouldn't you want to ask people the question and give them a chance to just answer it? I don't know what the outcome is. I have no special insight. All I know is these are important questions that people are very passionate about, and I need to know, all of us commissioners need to know where the people fall. I mean, do we have 70% of our citizens who are opposed to the wind energy or who want school choice, or is it 10%? That's going to be very instructive. The reality of those numbers is going to be very instructive to inform where we put our efforts as a board of commissioners.
There's a person asking a question. Oregon Outlaw 2000 is asking, will it be up to the county clerk to get them on the ballot?
No, that's not up to the county clerk. The authority to put these measures on the ballot or these questions on the ballot rests solely with the Board of Commissioners. Although I'm a little fuzzy on whether the Secretary of State has any role in that. They may. I haven't been able to decipher that yet. But we got up to where we really needed to get these questions out there if they're going to go on, and so I got them out there. And if we have another hurdle to jump over with the Secretary of State, then we'll do that. But the clerk does not make that decision.
That's great. That's great. And I appreciate you calling.
As far as I understand it.
Right. And I agree with you. The way I understand it is, and that she doesn't have the authority to stop the commission from putting advisory questions on the ballot. And I think even the Secretary of State has very little authority as to being able to reject it. I don't know what the standards are, but I just don't think that it's just a question. You're just asking a question. So, yeah.
That's right.
So this meeting is tomorrow at 9:30 in the Owen building, and we want a lot of people there, right?
Well, yeah, we want a lot of people there, and what we're not looking for is to create 4 hours of debate, okay? I mean, there are going to be some people who are on one side, there are going to be some people who are on the other side, and I'm sure that we'll hear some reasoned debate from both sides, and that's good. That's the stuff of a representative republic like ours. And I'm really interested in hearing that debate. I'm not interested in pushing into the 1:30 meeting that I have, right? So we'd like to get to the bottom of it and get a decision made. But I want to illustrate one other thing, Rob, and that is that Commissioner Sweet has been very much in favor of the idea of pushing this public safety levy. And when it was broached in the Board of Commissioners and in all conversations I've had, I've taken a neutral position on the levy itself. There's good about it, there's bad about it. I think that there are better ways for us to fund our public safety needs. But on the other hand, the avenue to achieve those mechanisms is much longer. Whereas the levy can happen really quickly. It will have a 5-year lifespan. And I do believe with all my heart that within that 5 years, we can find alternative funding mechanisms to meet the public safety needs that we have. But nonetheless, I don't necessarily favor the levy personally. But what I said is I do favor, and I will vote for, and did vote for, putting that question on the ballot. Because it should not be my decision, Rob. It should be the decision of the people of the county. And so I am not. I don't have the authority to quash the perspective and the opinion of all the people of Coos County. Put it out to a vote. Let's see what everybody wants, because we're there as elected people to do the will of our constituents.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Well, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll see you mañana. Anything you want to tell everybody before you get out of here?
Gosh, I think I've said everything I need to say about those topics. The election is coming up in May. I guess all I would say to anybody else leaving today is Coos County would save over $10 million a year if only everybody would live by the teaching of Jesus. And those are the words of the Venerable Gordon Ross, a predecessor of mine in the Board of Commissioners. And I hope everybody takes those words to heart.
No kidding. Hey, it sounds like it's pouring out there. You drive safe, okay?
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate everything you do, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you mañana. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. And that was really cool because I was just about ready to send you all off on your way. And we got a commissioner calling in. Yeah, they told me that after the getting kicked off the radio, I'll never be able to get a politician on my radio show yet. And I've had several politicians on my radio show. So don't believe what they say, folks. They lie. They lie, I tell you. That's right. So we're going to be getting out of here. I think Alex Bowser, yeah, thank you for the good job. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys out there doing what you're doing, and spread the word. Spread the word about these meetings and try to get people to these meetings. Try to get them to that event on Friday at the fairgrounds at the Oaks Pavilion to meet Todd Vaughn. That's at 6:30 this Friday at that same building the night before on Thursday. Get people out to talk about those easements. I think the commissioners are ready to change their mind on it. And I'm ready to get out of here. So until the next time I see you folks, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.